I'm Rashelle Raines, and this is my senior presentation. My presentation is about what I learned in 2D art class, and I will be explaining techniques about what I've learned, as well as sharing some history about the techniques and art movements, such as who pioneered the ideas and what they're all about. I will also be discussing why my 2D art class was so helpful and some ideas of how the class went day to day. In 2D art class, we would start our class with a daily warm-up or bell work. These warm-ups would normally be drawing something, whether it was something we saw or something make-believe. They were always fun and interesting and made great practice. They always got my creative juices flowing. Another good thing about 2D art class was that we were required to make a sketch before starting a new piece. The sketches helped me organize my thoughts and left room for mistakes along the way. My sketches would normally include color and placement, so everything would be just as I wanted it to be before starting the final piece. They helped to visualize to help me make the final work. Another requirement for the class was the author's note. The author's note was written after a piece of work had been finished. We'd write about how we could have improved or what we thought was good about our work. We'd also write about what we wanted to say in our artwork or why we created what we did. I thought this helped for the teacher to really understand what you created and why you created it, as well as giving you a chance to reflect on what you had created and how you felt about the finished piece. The first movement I remember learning and love is Cubism. Cubism was also pioneered by my two favorite artists, Pablo Picasso and George Braque. Cubism is considered the most influential art movement from the 20th century. In Cubism, objects are analyzed, broken up, and reassembled to make an abstract form. So instead of depicting objects from one viewpoint, the object is reassembled to show it in many different viewpoints. This shows the object in greater context. Another movement of the 20th century that we went over is Surrealism. The idea of surrealism focuses on subconscious or make-believe ideas and combines them with realistic ideas so that the ideas contradict each other in one piece of artwork. Surrealism started to flourish between World Wars I and II and started in Paris. Eventually, surrealism started to spread around the globe and had a big impact on other countries. It changed music, visual arts, literature, and as well as films. The art world would be incomplete without surrealism. A good painting technique we went over is pointillism. Pointillism is when small dots of paint make up a big picture. This technique was developed by Georges Seurat and Paul Signac around 1886. Pointillism was branched from Impressionism, which is a style of painting that concentrates on a general tone that is produced by an object, without showing too many details. Pointillism is also related to divisionism. The difference between the two is that divisionism concentrates more on color theory, while pointillism is more focused on a specific style of brushwork used to apply the paint. Pointillism also focuses a lot on blending pigments on a palette. In 2D art class, we were taught to use different shades of one color to create depth and value. We used watercolor paint, but normally pointillism is done with oil paints because of their thickness and because they don't bleed or run. Another good thing to learn and understand are focal lines and focal points. Focal lines guide a viewer's eyes to a specific part of the artwork, which is called the focal point. This has to do with the structure of our artwork, which has a lot to do with where the viewer's eyes are guided. Contrast, which is the difference between light and dark, also have a lot to do with where a person looks. Contrast is known to be the strongest attractor for the human eye, which is a good thing to remember when creating art. All in all, I'm truly glad I took 2D art class because I have learned so much that can help me with my future. Whether it's as simple as a sketch or an artist note after and before work, or as complex as knowing the movements and where they came from, I know that these things are both important and helpful. I also know that the world wouldn't be much without art, and it's a very important thing to understand and love. Art is everywhere and always will be, so you might as well take some time to love and understand why and how art is created. So sit back, relax, and take some time to learn, look, and study different art forms and where they came from. Thank you, and and have a good day.